Hey, what's up, guys? This is Cody the Coin Raptor coming at you with another Bitcoin video update. I'm sorry I haven't posted in a little while. I've actually been on vacation and then sick, and I've been recovering from that. But now I feel much better. So we're going to go ahead and get right into what's been going on with Bitcoin and my plans, and we're going to talk about if anything has changed as well as the increasing adoption of Bitcoin. Now, if you guys are interested in hearing about all that, be sure to subscribe. Be sure to hit that like button. Be sure to follow me on X and Threads as well for the most up-to-date information and the posts when I go through and buy and sell Bitcoin. So Bitcoin has been going sideways for the past couple of days. It has dropped down back into the load the boat zone that I've outlined here, this green box. This actually shows that Bitcoin went down to about 76,000 or so, and we saw a pretty strong rejection off of that level. Now, in this green box, the load the boat zone, that's where I'm going to be primarily interested in buying some more Bitcoin. I've been buying some IBIT primarily, the Bitcoin Spot ETF, and a little bit of actual Bitcoin. But I've been waiting and biding my time because I do think that it's possible that we could actually see Bitcoin go down to about the 74K region or so, yeah, in the near term. But I don't think it's going to stay there for very long. Now, that being said, if 74K doesn't hold, there's always a possibility we hit the ultimate support here at this blue box that I've outlined here at about 73 to about 66K. Now, this support is incredibly strong. This goes all the way back to March 2024 and the highs of last year. But just know that it's not very likely, I think, in my opinion, that we're going to wind up seeing Bitcoin go down into this region and stay in there for any length of time. Now, if Bitcoin does go into that region, I will be buying heavily in this region in the 60s and in the upper 70s. So something to keep in mind. Your mileage may vary, not financial advice, but this is going to be an excellent area that I'm looking at. And if it does come by here about 73K, I'm also interested in buying there as well. So what's been going on with Bitcoin is that it's been dropping with the traditional markets because of tariffs and the tariff talk and just overall market churn that's going on. It's been very risk off. Bitcoin in February has been down 17%, which is one of the worst Februaries in Bitcoin's entire history. This is normally a very bullish month. Then we get to March, and March, we're basically halfway through at this point. But March is still red when normally March is more mixed. Okay, so we'll see what happens with this month with March. But normally the seasonally bullish time does tend to be the start of the year. And then we get more into April, and April is a little bit more bullish than March usually on average. So that's something to keep in mind when we talk about our seasonality here at play. The other reason why Bitcoin's been going down is because of the spot ETFs and the huge withdrawals that we've seen from the spot ETFs over the last 5 weeks. This is our Soso Value Bitcoin Spot ETF tracker, the net flow tracker. And you can see here that over the last 5 weeks, there have been outflows. So outflows coming from these Bitcoin spot ETFs. And this has been, again, following a risk off kind of attitude in the general markets, both the traditional markets and both with crypto as well. So it's something to keep in mind. Now, these are the largest outflows that I think I've ever seen. And I don't expect that it's going to continue. Eventually, at some point, we're going to find a bottom here. There's going to be some more interest that comes back into Bitcoin. And with some of the later things I want to talk about, we can see that adoption is starting to improve. Adoption is starting to accelerate. Now, what we've seen here when it comes to the whale activity, very interesting that we have our Bitcoin whale number 100. This is the whale that I usually follow fairly often because this whale is actually pretty good at timing the market. But this whale number 100 has actually bought an incredible amount of Bitcoin over the last 16 days. So throughout the entire month of March, you can see here all the transactions. They've added a large amount of Bitcoin, over 2,700 Bitcoin for the last 16 days. And this is actually at a pretty remarkable level. Normally, this whale doesn't buy that much Bitcoin that quickly, but they are loading up right now and presumably are looking to sell it probably as we near 90K, 100K sometime in the future. The next thing I want to talk about is the Bitcoin options. So there's a massive options expiry set on the 28th of March. That's only a couple of weeks away. It's about $11 billion worth or so. And you can see here that mostly they are call options with a smaller amount of put options, and the max paying price for that day is going to be 85,000. Now, what's interesting about this is that I've talked about this previously in the past because I think this is actually a really good indicator to figure out short term where the Bitcoin price is going to be going. And I do think that this max paying price of 85K shows that traders are still going to be relatively bullish heading into the end of the month and all this options expiry. We're going to see a lot of volatility towards the end of the month, so that's something to keep in mind. But I do think it's possible that we'll actually clear this max paying price, this threshold here, and the Bitcoin price will probably go above 85K. Now, as a reminder, this is the area in which the most contracts expired, causing the most pain to the most number of holders, the options holders. So the whole idea here is that the price is going to gravitate towards 85K, which for now would actually be a nice increase from where we are currently. So traders right now are looking at this 85K price number, $11 billion worth of options, and they're saying, okay, well, based on this, it's entirely possible that we're going to get some serious volatility here very shortly. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is the fear and greed index, sitting right now at about a 30, not too crazy. It was at extreme fear a couple of days ago. It's kind of gone back up again a little bit. And I do think that when it comes to the fear and greed index, it's important to note that if you don't really care about looking at the charts or anything like that, that this fear and greed index can actually be a really useful indicator for sentiment. It's really easy to think about just buying when we're at extreme fear and selling when we're at extreme greed or somewhere around that region. Not financial advice, but that's what I would do if I'm not interested at all in checking charts. Now, it's also interesting to note that MicroStrategy, also known as Strategy right now, has put together a recent program the 10th of March which is called a ATM program. It's essentially what they're going to be doing is issuing stocks and taking up debt, and they're going to be buying up to $21 billion worth of Bitcoin. So the whole idea here is that Strategy is going to be all in on their Bitcoin purchasing program, and they're going to be buying as much Bitcoin as possible, especially as we're under this 100K region, and we're down into I would call it the load the boat, and maybe even ultimate support. But in this area, I would expect that Strategy and some other companies are going to be increasing their Bitcoin buys as well to kind of buoy the market a little bit and to buy Bitcoin on the cheap. So this is something that I expect them to keep doing. As soon as I figure out if they've bought or anything like that, I'll put in an update. We'll talk about this more in the future. But $21 billion worth of money to go out and buy Bitcoin is a pretty significant amount, considering where other companies are with their Bitcoin balance sheets, which is almost non-existent for a lot of companies. Now, the other thing I want to talk about is the Bitcoin Strategic Reserve. So this is something that happened a couple of days ago, about a week ago, in which the current government. The current U.S. government, led by Donald Trump, signed the executive order to create a strategic Bitcoin reserve. Now, this is going to be very interesting because what you're looking at is adoption, the rapid adoption, acceleration of Bitcoin as an asset class now being used in place or in lieu of the gold, okay? Because a lot of people think that Bitcoin is digital gold, including myself. Now we're actually starting to see this kind of more in action where you're seeing the actual U.S. government getting behind it and saying, okay, we need to have a Bitcoin strategic reserve, kind of like an oil strategic reserve or a gold strategic reserve. And so this right here is opening up, I think, the adoption curve for Bitcoin and how Bitcoin is treated by the governments, not only just this government, but governments across the world. Okay, I think this can be very, very, very helpful when we talk about adoption. But we'll have to see how this plays out. I'm not entirely sure about the details because the details have been kind of sparse. But as soon as I get more information, I'll let you guys know. This is just another great example of adoption accelerating, and Bitcoin potentially, I think, has the the capability of going in excess of like 120, 130, 140,000 this year, but it's going to be a long and choppy road to get there. So let me know what you guys are doing in the comments below. Are you guys buying? Are you selling? Did you panic sell out of your Bitcoin? I have not sold any of my Bitcoin currently. I am waiting. I have been kind of getting in and out or trading a little bit of IBIT on the sides because it's a little bit more, it's a little bit easier for me to go through tax wise and through my brokerage. But let me know what you guys have been doing. Leave a comment below and I'll catch you guys on the next video.